Well, good morning, everybody. What a great day, great turnout today. Everybody come on over. We got great seats still available, but they're going quick, so make your way over this morning. I'm Jeff Simmons, and I just want to welcome you. I'm the lead pastor here at Rolling Hills Community Church, and it's such a blessing for us to be able to host this incredible event, and just so grateful for what God's doing in our city, in our community, and what a blessing to be a part of it. And you guys are leaders here. We've got a great program today. It's exciting to see what's happening in sports, what's happening in Nashville, and this area is just so awesome between the Titans and then the Predators. What an amazing year, so fun, and all the things that are happening, and then with soccer possibilities. So it's going to be a great morning. Great things are happening. So if you're in the back and you're still talking, you're still eating your biscuit, thank you, Puckets, then just come on over and make your way. I'm going to pray for us, and then I'm going to turn it over to you guys, and we're just going to have a great program. Is that good? All right, let's pray together as we get started. God, thank you for today. Thank you for this city. Thank you for our community. Thank you that we live in such a wonderful place. God, we are so blessed. And we pray for our leaders. We pray for our mayors that you would give them wisdom to lead well. We pray, Father, for all the sports and everybody who represents Franklin and Middle Tennessee and Nashville. And Father, we just pray a blessing on all the leaders that are here, God, and the difference that they're making in businesses and education and in our community. And God, we are so thankful that we live where we live. And God, we give you praise. Thank you for a great day. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you so much, Steve. Well, good morning, Tim.
Good morning, Elizabeth.
I'm Mafford with the Better Business Bureau. I'm the chair of the Breakfast with the Mayors, and I'm here with Tim Murphy.
I'm Tim Murphy. I'm the president of the Franklin Tomorrow Board of Directors, and I work at Cap Wealth Advisors here in town. We just want to take a minute to welcome everybody and thank you all for coming.
Now, I'm wearing my Predator sticker, and I've got my Predator top on.
Well, I have a...
Wow, okay, that's one up for me.
Nope. There we go.
Woo! Good job, Tim. That's one
And
up.
I have a magnet, too.
Oh, yeah,
so
you can get your
not
own
to be
magnet
outdone.
over there. Yeah. No, I think you outdid me total.
Yeah.
Well, this morning we just want to thank our sponsors.
We do, and let's start off with thanking Pinnacle Financial Partners for their continued support to make Breakfast with the Mayors happen every quarter. We also want to thank Williamson Medical Center, Tennessee Equine Hospital, Williamson County Association of Realtors, and Patterson, Hardy, Ballantyne Public Accountants.
And then for July, go ahead, round of applause for our sponsors, please. In July, we have new sponsors. We have Andrews Transportation Group. We want to thank them for joining us, as well as Hazen and Sawyer as a partner for the remainder of 2017. So, big round of applause for all our sponsors.
And with that, now that we've thanked everyone...
I got a little bit more.
One more.
Can I keep going?
Yes, go ahead. I'll let you.
Okay, I don't want us to forget, we need to thank our food and our coffee sponsors, Puckets and MJ Roasting. Did y'all have a good breakfast this morning? Thank y'all for being here, and now Tim, if you'll do the honors.
And now we'll ask Mayor Rogers Anderson to come up.
And join us on stage. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, and welcome everyone this morning. Jeff, thanks again for always opening up the Rolling Hills facility here. It's always a great. If you're an elected official, would you please stand? We want to recognize and say thanks for all that you do. Elected official here in Williamson County. Thank you very much. And for many of you, you probably do not realize this. This is National Hire a Veteran Day all throughout the United States. So, if you're a veteran, like I am, would you stand? We're all so proud of our soldiers, what all the things they do. So many of you have come in here to listen to the Titans and the Predators and what's on the horizon for our soccer and so many other professional sports that we have throughout the Middle Tennessee area. But we're going to concentrate on my conversation this morning about a sports authority. About a year and a half ago, the county commission authorized the formation of a sports authority here in Williamson County. To give you some history and some chronological time period, go back in your mind 20, 22, 23 years ago when Davidson County, through the efforts, set up a sports authority. That sports authority ultimately resulted in the Titans and the Predators coming to our community. So the sports authority in Williamson County, we had to have a charter, and that charter had to have 3 individuals' names listed on it that were requesting this sports authority. They all have to live in Williamson County. One of them I saw here this morning. Where's Steve Smith at? Steve, there you are. Steve Smith with Horry and Smith, also running a few campaigns across the state and the nation. Thanks for participating in that. There are 2 other gentlemen that have also agreed to be on that sports authority on those early days that we did about a year and a half ago. Larry Westbrooks and Richard Harrington. We will finish filling the board over the next 30 to 60, 90 days, and then that board will be in its full capacity. We will file that charter with the state of Tennessee, and so those organizations that are looking to come into Williamson County, either through the amateur round, and I'm sure Ellie is going to talk about that a little bit this morning on a sports feasibility study that was conducted here over the last several months. And as these organizations come into our community that are in the area of amateur sports, I've had a few people this morning to ask me, is the sports authority not interested at all in professional sports? The answer is yes and no. The answer says that Williamson County is a perfect spot for amateur sports, soccer, volleyball, pickleball, you name it. Girls sports as well as boys sports. Where do we put one? Don't know. What are the avenues that government, either city and county, can participate? Those are called public-private partnerships. That's what this board's going to have to figure out and what to do. But this board also said, let's don't just limit it. Let's look out into the future, 20 and 25 and 30 years. Let's don't limit ourselves just to amateur sports, but let's look at what could professional sports do out in our community. There's a possibility that someday the Titans or the Predators, the soccer, may want to have a training facility here. There's always that opportunity. So you don't want to limit yourself. So we're looking at a lot of different things. So stay tuned over the next 60 and 90 days. I think you'll see a lot more activity in that. Before I turn it back over to you, Mindy, let me say thanks to all the parks and recreation facilities that we have throughout our wonderful county. I remember, like so many of you, 25 and 30 years ago when soccer was a new upcoming sport, maybe 40 years ago. Don't want to tell my age. And a lot of people were scratching their head, particularly us traditional baseball, football, basketball folks, saying, what about this soccer? And look at it today. Look at lacrosse today. Look at girls' sports today in all areas that we have. We have a complex, when Doug Hood was Parks and Recreation, solely directed to girls' athletics and sports. And it doesn't matter where we turn, or if you're a grandfather like I am, there's not enough facilities here. You start coupling that with the challenges on tax dollars that our county commission and our aldermen have to face every day. There's too much competition that we have to constantly try to figure out how are we going to provide these fields and the gyms and the baseball complexes. And so the avenue is, we hope, through this sports authority that we're beginning to set up as we continue to grow in our community. Thank you, Mindy, for letting me have a few moments. You want me to stay up here? Just give you the mic and go back and sit down. Sit down.
That's your mic. That's your mic. Well, good morning and welcome. And we got a great lineup for you this morning. And I'm going to bring them on stage, kind of like our team this morning. We've got Steve Underwood with the Tennessee Titans. Come on up. We've got Sean Henry with the Nashville Predators. Will Alexander with Nashville Major League Soccer. Hey, Sean. And we've got Ellie Chen with the Williamson County Convention and Visitors Bureau. Everybody's got a mic, so great. Well, we'll let everybody get a little settled on this blue couch, and I've got water up here for everybody as well. Welcome to Williamson County, guys, to some of you, but and you didn't have to go far for this meeting, did you? So that's great. As you can tell, there's a lot of interest in Major League Sports here in Williamson County, and I know that Major League Sports relies on Williamson County, I would assume, for ticket sales and for fans. But we want to talk a little bit this morning about the business of sports. And so I would just like to give each of our representatives from our Major League teams a chance to talk about the season right now. And some people think it's the off season, and some people think there is no off season. And I guess in the business world, there probably isn't an off season, is there? So just talk a little bit about what's going on with your team and your organization right now, and the season that we're in for sports.
I'm just checking to make sure this is on.
Yes.
Well, let me say first how privileged I feel, not just to be invited to be here, but to be a part of so distinguished a panel. Sean and I have known one another for years. He does a tremendous job with the Predators. And I have gotten to know Will the last few months because he and I have worked together on their effort to bring a Major League Soccer team to Middle Tennessee. We wish them well, by the way, in that endeavor. Our business is unique in a lot of ways, and all three of us could say much the same thing. One of the reasons that we're unique is that we are the product of a public-private partnership. Our building was financed with public tax dollars. Much of the infrastructure around Nissan Stadium was built with public tax dollars. So we are deeply embedded with the Metropolitan Government's Sports Authority and the Metropolitan Government in Davidson County. Having said that, we also have close ties to Williamson County. We have thousands of season ticket members who live here. Many of our players, coaches, and staff live here. I myself lived in Williamson County during my original tenure here, and so we think very highly. So highly, in fact, that we're having one of our practice sessions in about a week or 10 days at Centennial High School. We're bringing our entire team for a practice session there and inviting the public to come. So August the 4th at about 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon, you can get on our website, titansonline.com, and find out all the details about the practice because we're going to have an inter-team scrimmage there at the high school's practice facility. And we have spent a good bit of time kind of fixing it. The other thing that is important about, or unique and important about our organization, and again, the same would be true for Sean and Will, we are part of a larger fabric. We are a member of a league, and our league is an organization that we're inseparable from, and our league has a commissioner who runs the business of the league. Most businesses, and those of you who own or operate a business or understand this, you don't really have a governing body other than yourself. We do. So we not only have a governmental layer and a league layer, but our business is divided into two distinct parts. One of those is football. We have about 50 people in our football operations, separate and apart from our players. We have so many different departments in football. It's hard to imagine that there is that much effort devoted just to the sport of the game. We have a big training staff, video staff, equipment staff. We travel all over the country to play our games. All of that takes a good bit of operational support and logistics help. And then we have a business side, which is what I understand you all want to talk about today. But I want to give my colleagues an opportunity to talk about their business as well.
I think mine works too. I try to say thanks for letting me come out today. If I knew I was going to be sitting there on the couch, I would wear socks. So I apologize for that. But I'm just glad I could stay home and have a meeting in my own county. But again, sincerely, thank you for letting me be here. We're excited. Anytime we get a chance to talk about what we do, it's just a fun day for us. And as Steve said, and you'll hear from Will as well, we're in a wonderful industry. We're in an industry that we all started in when we were 4 years old or 5 years old and never got out of it. You know, unfortunately, too many coaches explained to me I should be in an office and not on the playing field. So that's where I find myself today. And what a great community to be in. You look at what we've done over the past 20 years. Started as an expansion team with a sport that most people didn't know in the community. With a sport where the playing surface doesn't naturally grow in your backyard. And we really had to explain, you know, what we were, how to play, what a great sport it is for kids to play, no matter what else they do. Whether they play football or volleyball or softball, if you can get a child to play hockey, they're going to be a better athlete, they're going to be a better teammate. And that's what we like to promote. Now, of course, we sell hockey, we sell our concerts, and we're very proud of what we've done with the Stanley Cup run and how we engage with the community. We're really excited about what we're doing with the arena side, one of the busiest venues in all of America. I think by the end of this year we'll be the busiest venue in the country. Right now we're pacing as number 5. But those are easy things, they really are. What we work really hard on is youth sports and how we engage with the community with our foundation, kind of the cornerstone of what we are. And we can talk about economic impact, we can talk about, you know, all the wonderful people that are working with us. But really what we're most proud of is how we leverage our fans' passion for our logo and turn it back into the community. And we just did our grant cycle a few weeks ago, and I think we had 35 or 40 different organizations in Williamson County that benefit from our over $1 million of cash distribution that we do each and every year. And that's what we're really, really excited about, which drives us every day. We have 200 employees that live and work in this community, and they come to work every single day to figure out how to make this a better city, you know, for all of us. And it's been a great run for us, and I look forward to talking about more about what we do from a business standpoint, about our economic impact that we have on the entire, you know, region, and that's what we always talk about. You know, some people think, you know, we're called the Nashville Predators, but we're a lot bigger than that. You know, we represent Middle Tennessee. We take that seriously. About 28 to 32% of our ticket buyers, whether it be for concerts or for the Nashville Predators, come from Williamson County. Only 25% come from Davidson County. What's nice about that is, you know, you're looking at about 50% or 40% of our overall ticket buyers come from outside of Middle Tennessee. And it really drives what we all do. So again, thanks for letting me be here today, and I promise if I come back next year, I'll have socks on.
I'd like to begin also by saying thanks. It's a real opportunity and a privilege to be on this panel with Ellie and with Steve and with Sean, because what I'm here to talk about is just a vision. These are pillars of the community that have contributed a lot, and the Titans and Predators think about their 20-year histories and all that they've accomplished. So it's a great thing for you all to invite somebody that's involved with trying to bring a Major League Soccer team here, and hopefully we'll be able to get that done. What I thought I could do is begin briefly and just give you all a status update on where things stand with the MLS bid. You guys certainly are familiar with what the Titans and the Predators are to the community, but not all of you maybe knew that we're in the hunt for a Major League Soccer team. About a year ago, a group of about 25 community leaders came together and created what was called the MLS Organizing Committee. This group basically was a demonstration to Major League Soccer that there was an interest here in Middle Tennessee for having an expansion team. The MLS currently has 24 teams. They've announced they're going to add 4 more, and at that point they'd be finished with expansion. So the thinking by a lot of people around the community was, let's go ahead and throw our hat in the ring and see if we can accomplish this. Soccer is the world's biggest sport, one of the fastest growing sports in the U.S., and there's a lot of great reasons why this area would be a good fit. Since the formation of the committee, things have been moving steadily along. John Ingram has come on board, and he will be he's going to be the lead investor in the team, and he's driving the bid in a great way right now. We've worked with the city of Nashville to have a preferred site be the fairgrounds in Nashville that you all are probably all familiar with now. We also have created a bigger committee. It's now got 160 members, called the MLS Nashville Committee, really to demonstrate that this is a community effort, and this will be a team for the entire region. And we've got lots of members from businesses and other people living in Williamson County on that too. We've the honorary co-chair of the committee. One of them is actually Eddie George from the Titans, and then Lily Aldridge, who's a supermodel and soccer player for 11 years also. We've had a great visit that was with Major League Soccer Commissioner just a couple weeks ago that coincided with the Gold Cup between the USA and Panama, where we had 48,000 people at Nissan Stadium. So we're making steady progress. We've come a long way in a relatively short amount of time, but there's a lot of work to do. And but it's been exciting to see all the support and the potential for soccer in Middle Tennessee.
Great. Thank you so much for giving us that update. And we'll talk a little bit about some different opportunities as it relates to the business of sports. I want to ask maybe start with Sean and have Steve reflect on this. Did the success of the Stanley Cup run give the region a better idea of the business of sports, the impact of sports, and how does that reflect for the Titans and as we look for the Major League Soccer bid as well?
Well, I think the run that we had, and whenever you make the playoffs in our sport, it's pretty special because if you're successful, it goes on for weeks and weeks and weeks. And obviously, if you go to the Stanley Cup, it's a 2.5-month fun run. Yeah. But what it also does is it spotlights how impactful it can be. And when you look at what we did, we had the highest rated Stanley Cup in the history of the game that didn't involve one of the boring original 6 teams. And you look at it, and it was Nashville and Pittsburgh, two of the smaller cities in all professional sports. And really 2 cities that had some trying times with their team, if you will. And obviously we overcame ours, they overcame theirs. But beyond the national impact, the international commercial that we did, and if Butch Spearman from the CBC were here, he would talk about the impressions that we had across the globe and the commercial we did for Nashville. Each and every game, there was a 4-hour infomercial of how great this is. And then when you spotlight this community, we know what the result's going to be. So the business of sports was highlighted because of what we do every day, as a city. But bigger than that, when you have watch parties throughout the entire state, you have people pouring out, virtually every other night for 2.5 months. It really shows what we can drive. And, for us, there are a few more kids wearing Preds jerseys today, which puts a little bit more pressure on us trying to build more facilities, which we're in the middle of. We opened up our first one, I guess, almost 2 years ago now. And we're about a year away from opening our second one. And Ellie, ideally, we're 2 years away from opening our third one. But it really does give spotlight to what we enjoy every day and the economic driver that we are. But it really was fun. There's no doubt about that. And what we say is, we get up every day and we have a good time with what we do, but it's also serious business of how we drive our businesses forward.
Steve, do you feel like it had an impact and focused also gave people attention for the Titans business?
We sort of view the success of the Predators as being good for everyone, including us in a lot of ways. I will say this, I thought that the turnouts that they had downtown, and I went to a couple of their playoff games, they were very exciting. And all of that is good, not just for the Predators, although it's certainly good for them, and we're happy for them. It's good for all of us because it demonstrates the support that you can get locally in Middle Tennessee. There are very passionate fans here, not only for football, but also for soccer and for hockey. When you can get that kind of public enthusiasm about what you're doing, it helps all of us. We had over 45,000 people in house for a soccer game in our building a couple of weeks ago. We're going to have more than that at an ICC game this Saturday in Nashville. And all three of us, I think, would make the same kind of common observation about that. If it's good for one of us, it's good for all of us, because while it may build their brand, it also builds the brand of professional sports and the idea that people are interested in the competition that you can see in those endeavors. And so our hats are off to the Predators. We tried to be very supportive of their playoff run. Our owners were there at one of the playoff games and excited to be there. And we just can't say enough good things about what that's done, not just for the Predators, but for all of us.
Ellie, you have a unique kind of backstory to tell about your relationship in Nashville with the Sports Authority and the beginning of professional sports, but now standing here in Williamson County, also seeing the impact that run had and the Titans games have. Just tell us a little bit about your background, and I think people will find that interesting, but also what you see as the impact of professional sports in Williamson County.
Sure. So I just want to make a comment on the Stanley Cup final. Well, first of all, how fantastic was that? That deserves a round of applause. It was just so exciting. But from a media perspective, and because of what you did around the games, sports was talking about Nashville, music was talking about Nashville, lifestyles was talking about Nashville. So it wasn't only ESPN was talking about Nashville, but because of the concerts and everything that was happening around it, and because the arena holds 18,000 people, and anywhere from 50 to 80,000 people who are showing up on the streets, we got hotel rooms booked. So we get impacted by what they do in Nashville, because those rooms come out to us whenever Nashville fills up, and we felt it, especially during CMA week. So thank you for that, and that's great. And we look forward to the Titan season, and that helps with Major League Soccer. We're trying to get a team, and now Nashville's on everybody's lips, so to speak. So that exposure as a whole is good for everybody as a whole, I think. A little bit about my background. I grew up in Chicago. I'm just teasing. I grew up in Chicago, but I moved to Nashville in 1993. I was the second hire to help start the Nashville Sports Council. So we didn't have Bridgestone Arena or Titans Coliseum or really any facilities. I told this story the other day. We bid on and won the canoe and kayak championships. And for those of you that have been here a while, we went to Opryland Theme Park, and we did it on the water ride at Opryland Theme Park. So when you talk about getting creative to get your name on the, your town on the map of sports, when Jenny Hannon and I first went out and said, hey, would you bring your sporting event to Nashville? They were like, no. Because Nashville doesn't do sports. So it was a really fun and wild ride for me, because I was early in my career and I got to serve on the teams to bring the Titans and the Predators in and get the buildings passed and constructed, and it will always be a very special part of my career and my life, and I'm just thrilled to have that experience. But now we sit in Williamson County, and we have so much, you can tell by everybody in this room today, we have so much enthusiasm for sports in our county, not only to support our professional sports team, but also those amateur and professional sports, both participatory. Probably a lot of you in the room have kids or grandkids that play in sports, but also those tournaments that we can bring into our community. You guys have heard the numbers. I haven't been shy about the numbers, but we have a lack of facilities here, and hence the reason we did the sports feasibility study. And what that study proves, in the last 3 years, because of lack of facilities, we lost 117 events that we could have brought to our town that would have been millions of dollars in economic impact. And we released the sports feasibility study a couple weeks ago, and it shows that if we had a good facility here that was multi-sport, they would come. Franklin Williamson County is very well known in the sports world, and he's here with us today, Nate Gaw, who's our sports sales manager. When he goes to a show, people literally walk up to him and were like, here's an RFP, a request for proposal, I want to be in Franklin. We just don't have a place to put them. So I feel like the impact that we get through our wonderful professional teams and the impact that we can bring here through amateur and youth tournaments could really bring in more revenue to the county.
And this is probably for, and anyone's welcome to answer, but that feasibility study did indicate that we don't have the facilities to host those tournaments, but also that we have a need for facilities as it relates to meeting the needs of our active families and residents. But there's a huge price tag attached to that. Rogers, how do you balance what I saw was a over $60 million price tag? How do you balance those things and when you're building roads and building schools and make that a quality of life issue something
so when
that's
you
important?
leave today, we'll have a collection plate. And some of you may think it'll go to Jeff and the church here, but it's really going to Sports Authority. I don't have the answers for all that. And you know, the good thing about businessmen and businesswomen that have here, you have to find solutions. The report basically said on the last page of the report, you guys really ought to look at that. You're within so many miles of the population, so much to 50% of the population in the United States. Probably the model that all of us would want to look at would, no disrespect, Mr. Underwood, would be Indianapolis because of what they have created up in their community from the professional sports and amateur sports and just the buy-in of the community. Then you have other areas that are 100% private sports complex just north of Atlanta. I think it's about a 1,200-acre complex that deals with just about everything. I don't know they have sheets of ice there, Sean, but they have soccer, they have baseball and softball, and they have all of these amenities that have come to know. If you're an SEC baseball fan, Hoover, Alabama would be a place that I would look at and seeing how they've developed that. In our own community, though, Mindy, as we look out across, I can look across our county. As Ellie has stated, we don't have enough facilities to do hardly any of them big-time promotion on amateur sports or what we bring into town. We host the Senior Olympics, for an example. That's 2,000 men and women. You have to be 55 years of age. The oldest participant this year was over 100. And this individual was running up and down, doing swimming activities and basketball. But if it wasn't for BGA, if it wasn't for Parks and Rec in the Franklin City, we have to move these people around, and they do spend money here. And as we continue to grow in our community, and we're estimated to be at about 400,000 people by the year 2040, that next generation, we've got to set the stake in the ground and figure out the solution for some of these things. I'm convinced that sports should be a part of our economic development that we have in our community. I've talked to Sean about sheets of ice. I've seen the success that they've had over in the old Hickory Hall Mall area. Look what they're doing in Bellevue. It's just a matter of time in our high schools that hockey will be recognized at the TSSAA level. I don't know when that will occur, but I know it's coming. I know that our Ag Center, here in a couple of weeks, we'll host the fair. We'll see 200,000 people come through there. But in the spring, we host the state championship wrestling, regional and state, and they love it. And they're very interested in looking at things. And there are other things that we need to be looking at. But that's way outside the area of government that I can always do. And I'm having to compete with schools and roads, and we don't need to take away from that. Bottom line, I think the business community will help us find a solution for these things. And if they want it as bad as I think the report indicated, we need to be looking at it.
You mentioned the report, and that was done by Venue out of, they're based in Brentwood, and they also did a report last year, I think, for the Nashville Sports Authority as it related to the needs that exist in Nashville for our improvements and expansions of the facilities there, which include Bridgestone and Nissan Arena. Can you gentlemen who deal with the business side of that and talk a little bit about your relationship with the Nashville Sports Authority and the needs that exist at the existing facilities that we have in Nashville and what responsibility the team or the league has?
We have a 20-year partnership, over 20-year partnership with the Metropolitan Government's Sports Authority, and we have a great working relationship with them and have had for many years. Among the many things that they have done insofar as our business is concerned is a long-term facilities assessment. Our building was built for the least amount of money of any National Football League stadium of its generation. The construction costs were about $168 million. At the same time our building was being constructed, the facility in Tampa was built for slightly more money. The NFL stadium in Baltimore was built for $400 million. And a new stadium was built in Houston for $700 million. So a lot depends on how much structure and architecture and facilities you have to maintain. But the study estimates that in the case of our building, the Metropolitan Government will need to come up with about $300 million over the next 22 years. Our building, we think, has a service life of at least 40 years. It doesn't have every bell and whistle that every NFL stadium has. We don't have a retractable roof or a dome. And I say this without flinching, it's still a great place to watch football games. We can still entertain 70,000 people for professional football. We can entertain almost that many for professional soccer or amateur soccer. And while it's indirectly related to your question, we've also been quietly building our venue business. We have 2 great club areas that are enclosed in our stadium. We have, I say this and even people in Nashville are surprised, we will host over 300 events in our venue space in 2017. They're business meetings as small as 10 or as large as 500, enclosed in areas. Sometimes we host more than one meeting or gathering at a time, receptions, parties, weddings, bar mitzvahs. We have basically every kind of venue service that you can get anywhere, and we're growing that business. That might be another thing, Your Honor, that you might want to look at in connection with whatever facility your sports authority builds here, because in addition to just hosting sporting events, our building is capable of hosting many other kinds of gatherings and can do so at a profit. So that's another way to look at the possibility of paying for your facility whenever your sports authority gets around to doing it. The staff on the Metropolitan Government Sports Authority also does yeoman's work in making sure that the members of the Sports Authority are well informed and advised about what's going on. But our partnership with them is, I think, very strong. We provide monthly written reports of great length to the Sports Authority about what is one of Nashville's greatest public works. We're proud to be there. We think we'll be there for another 10, 20 years and are a great place to come and watch a football game. So we're not concerned about our future in terms of our facilities. Yes, it is going to cost money to maintain over time, but just as the mayor thinks that there's smart business people that can figure out a solution for Williamson County, we think that there are similarly very adept folks in the Metropolitan Government that can find a way to pay for the building we occupy and the building that Sean and his group operate. Their part of the study showed about another $200 million over that same time period. Yes, it is a lot of money. Sounds like a lot of money, is a lot of money. But there are ways that can be done, that can be where that kind of debt can be financed over that period of time. We're not worried about them finding a long-term solution.
Sean, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, when you look at our venue or the stadium, it's really a study of urban development. And when Mayor Bredesen talked about building an arena, it was a dumb idea. He was foolish. It was Bredesen's folly. What is he thinking? Probably going to ruin his political career. And obviously he turned around a little bit differently. But all you need to do, if anyone really challenged the return on investment a community makes in sports facilities, whether it be amateur or pro, just look at what happened on Broadway. Look at the old convention center. And a lot of people aren't from here or they haven't been here very long. But the old convention center's back doors on Broadway. Think about that for a minute. The back door was built on Broadway. They wanted nothing to do with that area, but it was the best place to build the convention center at the time. And because of Mayor Bredesen's vision, you look at what was developed around our building. Obviously, we're bookended with the stadium, and in between is a flurry of activity that is incredible. We are truly the envy of North America. When people are talking about building venues today, they come here to figure out what happened, why it happened, and they want to figure out how to do it. But the return on the investment that has been made in our venues is 100-fold. We're both built, as Steve said, in a fairly modest fashion from an investment standpoint. There was a wave of activity 20 years ago in venues being constructed. I think we were the cheapest arena built at the time as the stadium was there, cheapest one. But we outperformed all of our rich brothers, if you will. I mean, we're in Nashville, Tennessee, one of the smallest cities in all of professional sports, but somehow we're one of the busiest venues in all of North America. We're proud of that. What we're most proud of is we have a $400 to $450 million economic impact each and every year because of what we do. And I hope he's here, there's some goofy professor at Vanderbilt that says there is no economic impact for sports teams. And I laugh, and I've debated with him. He really believes that if Bridgestone Arena was never built, people from Kentucky, North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Wilson County, and Montgomery County would still come into Davidson County, but they would just spend their money on movies or bowling. It's a lot of bowling. I always tell people I love how we have one of the lowest ticket prices in the entire league, but it's still a fairly expensive endeavor. I bowl a lot. I'm a crazy bowler. Not really, but I think a bowling game is $6 or $8. When our ticket price is $70, $80, it really spins off the proper impact. And when you come to a game, you normally do something before or after. And again, just the national commercial that we do each and every day brings people to Nashville. I mean, it really has paid for itself 100 times over. Every time we do an event, whatever the investment is from Public Works, it's paid off by those that spin off. And again, our partnership with the city, with the Sports Authority, again, really is the envy of the rest of our league and industry, and we're proud of that. A lot of talk has been made about the study that was done last year. We drove that because for whatever reason, people start talking about venues saying, well, they have a 30-year shelf life. The reason people think they have a 30-year shelf life is normally the bonds are 30 years. It has nothing to do with reality. It's like your home. The more you take care of your home, the better it's going to be, the longer it's going to last. And some of the best venues in America are 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, but they're still there and they're very modern because people invest in them. And that's what we're doing right now. We put about $80 million in our building, a building that'll cost $120 million. But the more we invest, the more activity we can do, the more we can invest, the better the team is, the more events we can go after. So it really does spin together. And I look forward to 20 or 30 years from now, someone talking about Bridgestone Arena being one of the most modern facilities in America. And it really is smart money to invest in sports and entertainment because nobody spends when they travel more than someone going to a concert or a sporting event, whether it be for a tournament for your children, grandchildren, or for yourself. You're there, you want to be in the community, you immerse yourself into it, you're eating 3 meals, and normally you hang out a little bit later than you should.
Well, I'd like to you're the future of sports facilities and looking at that, and there's a while there are 4 expansion spots, 2 of those will be awarded 1 year, 2 another year, I think it is. But tell me, what's the window for developing a facility here, and what's the big step, next big step?
I think we certainly have not been awarded a team yet as a community, and the facility will come next. But a big part of a bid is basically the ownership group, the stadium plan, and the market. And the part of the bid that we're embarking on currently is to put together a stadium plan, and that will be carried out in the next few months. The good thing that we have is we've just got a great set of case studies here with the Predators and the Titans for how to build a cost-effective stadium, have a great partnership, host our teams, and then also host all these other events that you're hearing about. I mean, Sean, the NHL All-Star Game, all of these concerts. There's going to be 100,000 people most likely are going to see soccer games at Nissan Stadium just in this month alone. So it's a great place to look to have a roadmap for how to put a facility plan together the right way.
That's great. So Roger's mentioned pickleball is the next big sport in youth sports. I doubt that's really it, though everyone loves pickleball.
Do you really care what organization it is so long as they stay in their hotels?
Well, would that be the message you'd send a little bit to the citizens?
Well, I think pickleball is a long way from getting into the status of what these 3 gentlemen are at. However, they do have a national and statewide presence, and they've been looking for a place to host that.
Cornhole is sanctioned as well, okay?
You better find another question.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about just youth sports and Williamson County's facilities. And the question that we got a lot from when we asked for submitted questions was about A-game and the potential there and why it's going down the way it is. What can be done in the community, and are there things that the business community can collaborate with local government officials on to make things happen? So
I think the journey on A-games started a couple of years ago. That was a business model that the investors just didn't work out for them. They are still using the facilities, and the basketball, I know the Predators training or hockey side of it, the sheets of ice were removed. I don't think government can always just step in and when a business doesn't have a good model, a good business model, I don't know the government needs to be stepping in and throwing a life raft to. I'm not saying anything bad about the current management, but I do think you have to look at everything we do as a business model. Government and business, I've been in business a long time. They operate different. I love Mr. Underwood's comments about, he's got a board. He's probably got a board of, what'd you say, 3? Yeah, and you know who his boss is.
And they're all owners.
But he's also got this board of government that you have to open up the books, and you have to allow everybody to inspect those books. And that's not a bad thing, but a lot of the things that need to occur outside the eyes of government so they can put deals together and make those. Ultimately, it needs to come back, if it's going to have government involved, it has to be laid open so that everybody can examine that. I think there are opportunities in our community for more than just the one organization you mentioned. We've looked at taking the Ag Center and doing very similar to what Bridgestone has done. Remove the dirt, come back in with some concrete, put the dirt back, move it in and out. Would it be a suitable place for sheets of ice? We know we can do soccer in there. We know we can do lots of things inside our Ag Center, but again, it was not developed. When Clint Callicott was pushing that idea, it was not developed with any of these three items that we've got here or anything else. But it's a wonderful facility for what it can do. We just need to do more of it so that we get more of those dollars coming into our community. I think there's a model of what these three and Ellie's wisdom and experience that she's brought, that there's opportunities we haven't even seen over the next 10 to 20 years. And I would court any of these three to look at Williamson County for training for future involvements with the Titans and the Predators and this new soccer organization. Because when you look at what Dr. Looney has done for our schools and the direction and the fundamentals of that, look at the number of boys and girls that are going on and playing sports. This is a training bed for so many. I mean, I did not know until this morning the Titans were coming out August the 4th to host an event. The place will be packed. It will be packed, and it should be. But we need to capitalize that on also, just like Davidson County. Great partner into things, but we've got to think more on a regional basis than just the individual items that we've got. So I'm excited about it. We'll see how it develops.
So is it pickleball, or what is it, do you think? I mean, what's the next big sport for youth sports? Ellie, I mean, you may know from what tournament requests, but what do you think the next big sports?
Well,
or what do you see the demand for?
Interesting to me, and I don't mind mentioning this, there was a gentleman that lives in our community that was talking about rugby. Now, that's not a sport that I know anything about. But they're ready to go. They've pitched their idea to Davidson County. They've pitched it to us. I just don't have anything to do with yet. And you wouldn't think rugby would be anything that you'd see in the state of Tennessee. But there's a following here, just like these three gentlemen have said. And so I've learned not to put blinders on, just remove them and sit and talk. But I was very encouraged by what he brought to the table and is willing to do here. And now you're getting into a whole new area that is called Olympics. And all three of these gentlemen know that Olympics, professional sport, amateur sport, they're all in that basket together, and it's just cultivating it.
Does the creation of a sports authority in Williamson County bring a new interest from our professional teams to look at Williamson County and its facilities or its potential for facilities?
Well, based on our experience with the Sports Authority in Davidson County and my familiarity with the enabling legislation for sports authorities, I don't really see how you can get started here about a viable program for amateur or professional athletics without a sports authority, because they can do so many other things contractually that local government just is not permitted to do. That is necessary to attract those kinds of endeavors. But I would assume that the Sports Authority here is going to start with building amateur sports and sports facilities in Davidson County, in Williamson County, and that is really what the National Football League and our club has been doing over the last 10 years or so, helping build fields for youth sports. And it doesn't have to be tackle football. We're fine with flag football. The league has a huge initiative underway about flag football. Rugby, incidentally, is one of the forerunners of our sport. American football is the product, really, of the imagination of others built around the sport of rugby and other sports to some extent. So wherever you can make your start, but you have to have facilities or the ability to build facilities and maintain facilities in order to be viable as a sports city, as a sports venue, as a sports destination.
I guess youth sports influences the sports that people are interested in because they play them and they follow them. They find a favorite team. Sean, is that really the experience that you find in Will as well with soccer, I'm sure?
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, the community represents what they want to do. But the two fastest growing youth sports in America are volleyball and hockey. And we're underserved in both. And that's why I was so excited about the early conversations about the formation of the Sports Authority, because it really is the first necessary step of figuring out what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and when we're going to do it. But when we partnered with Davidson County, it was an easy thing to do. But it wasn't just about building the ice center. It was about building something in a community that's been going the wrong way for a long time in Antioch. And we partnered with Parks and the library. We built the library, the rec center, 5-acre park, and then of course the ice rink. It's the busiest ice rink in North America. You think about that, right here in our community, the busiest ice rink in North America is Ford Ice Center. That's the good news and the bad news. Mm-hmm. The reason it's so busy is we just don't have enough ice. And we need to continue to grow that. Obviously, we're selling that with Bellevue. But again, with Bellevue, we're not just building an ice center, we're building a rec center as well, that we're going to partner with Parks Department. We're going to run the whole thing. We're going to open it up virtually 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're going to do things that maybe Davidson County can't do on its own. And that partnership is incredible. And a lot's talked about with A-Game, and it failed. Why did it fail? If it failed, why do you think we should build something? It failed because the business model was always wrong. It's easy to take shots at the guys that own it, what they did or what they didn't do. It's a little unfair, though I can spend a lot of time doing that myself. But it failed because there was never a partnership with the community. Their goal with that investment was to run it as a viable business to make money doing that, and never really looking outside the walls as we're doing. We build the right center, whether it be fields, soccer fields, football fields, pickleball courts, which I've learned how to play because of Rogers. I lose a lot, so thank you. He knows the wager I'm talking about. But the more we build, the spin-off is outside those walls. It's like every baseball field or basketball court that is in every neighborhood. They don't make money on their own, but what they add to the community is tremendous. And for us, we get to drive sports tourism. So the Sports Authority is a necessary first step, and it's going to be really exciting to see where it goes. I think 20 years ago, when ours was put together in Davidson County, no one really knew what it was going to be. They knew it was going to, build our building, build the football stadium. I don't think they ever thought they were going to build a baseball stadium, or build a bunch of ice rinks, or manage amateur sports and partner in such a dynamic way with the Sports Council and the CBC. But you see where we are today, and it really is a model. So we're excited about it.
Let's thank our panel this morning so much for being here. Rogers, you have a big event coming up in a couple weeks. You have a big event coming up in a couple weeks out at the Ag Expo Park. Do you want to tell people a little bit about your day tomorrow and your upcoming Williamson County Fair?
Well, thank you very much. The Williamson County Fair, that's been in the front page of the paper for the last couple of weeks too. The Wilson County Fair, the Williamson County Fair, it opens on, where you at, Diane? August 4th, I think. It's on a Friday. So come on out and have a good time. This year's theme is countywide country pride, and for you that have youth, for you that have grandchildren like myself, we've dedicated almost a third of the arena out there this year to the STEMS program and teaching science and technology. Believe Williamson County once again is on the cutting edge talking about STEMS at a county fair, and it'll be from ages 10 and under would be the emphasis on it. And then of course, Mindy, my final say on the fair is there's always an opportunity for your 16-year-old son or grandson to blow a wad of money trying to buy a teddy bear for his girlfriend that costs $5. We just have to learn how that works. We haven't figured it out yet.
Steve brought a gift this morning, a signed helmet by Marcus Mariota. If you'll join me, Steve, we're going to give that away as well as the football. I'll let you help us do that. Elizabeth's back on stage. Here's this lovely Tennessee Titans helmet. And I can't believe he's a winner. Joe Walker, you're the winner of this helmet from First Tennessee. So Joe's the winner.
Wow.
And our football goes to Chris Clunan. Is Chris still here? So this
Congratulations, guys.
Great. All right, guys.
Go Titans.
Elizabeth's got a couple more giveaways, I think.
Yes. We have some coffee to give away. We have Chris Bridgewater, who's the director of Historic Franklin, Tennessee. Chris, if you'll come up or go to the back, I think they have it in the back for you.
Let's just go there real quick.
And then we have Gail Powell with High Hopes, Tony with Holes to Go, Brittany with Mercy Community Healthcare,
Ralph
with South Star, and then Lois with Crylight. If you'll see MJ and Rusty in the back. Thank you so much.
I'm not going to throw this. I swear I'm not going to throw this. This is our third Breakfast with the Mayors. Thank Elizabeth and her committee for all they do to make these possible. Our next Breakfast with the Mayors will be October 31st back here at Rolling Hills Community Church, and we'll do more on the program in the future. Or if you have a program suggestion, please send that to me, Mindy@franklintomorrow.org. Thanks. I hope you go out and make it a great day, and we'll see you maybe tomorrow at Mayor Anderson's State of the County address. I'm not tossing this.